The challenges continue as I continue to shout out from the ship. All aboard as I yell out to the waves, irrationally, but here I am again, pure persistence and determination. Just like Human Boy. Just like Human Boy's persistence. You have to love it. Artist Journal, May 24th, 2024. Broadcasting from what feels like I'm building a steel factory, but really I'm just putting a show together. The mall, even the mall internet was dying today. And then Object, I don't know, maybe it's the Kukai wallet. I was trying it on the Brave browser. And this is what was happening to me was when I was scrolling in the notifications, whether it was Chrome or Brave, once you get to the infinite scroll where it loads up, it would log me out and then it would sort of feedback back and forth. So I couldn't check my notifications beyond the first 50, which is unfortunate. So it's going to be a shorter abridged show, but we nevertheless have masterpieces here. It feels like Nov 1914 has really hit in her stride here and is putting out like 3 gorgeous works of art that feel like, and it's kind of, who knows? I mean, it's all subjective, I guess, in the end, but which feel like museum quality works. Like, I just imagine this at the MoMA in 10 years. That's how I see it. And, you know, who knows how that all works out. But that's just what I see. Like, look at this sheer originality. I mean, we put this under the loosely, you know, I'd call this digital painting. And then if you had to zoom in on what this is more, you know, under maybe the tag gradient artist, right? And look at how brilliant this is. Look at how fun this is. It looks like the portrait maybe of the artist. I mean, it's a woman in Nov 1914, I have been told. In the past, I think it was Tim from One of One, is a woman from Argentina, a woman artist. And so just awesome artist here and painting the sailboat en plein air like an impressionist here, but with this incredibly original style. Just incredibly original. Even this, like, these are probably clouds. These star gradients are probably clouds. And whatever this is, right? Maybe that's a flower, right? The white on. And then look at, again, the shadowing in the flower rendered as just a circle. And again, I don't even really, like, you know, I was going to say I don't even need to know the title to know what this is, but the title did help. Pintura, I assume, maybe painter in Spanish. Line Extension has been collecting these, you know, what I'm calling, and let's pray for the internet is all I have to say. I have reloaded the data. I've learned how to do it with the phone, which is you let it go to 0 and then they let you pay for more data here on my phone. So it's getting expensive, let me tell you, but I do have a solution. I rent here, finally, on this topic, but it's been consuming my week. If you can imagine, you know, internet's like water almost as far as just information. And I rent here, and so I'm not really in charge of the internet. Anyways, I should have messaged a week ago, but I have started to make the motions. I have codes, I have passwords when I call, so I'll start with what we have here, see if I can get that working, and then look for something with maybe no contract in Germany. Anyway, look at this beautiful work in this outrageous pink frame, kind of hot pink frame here, these trees. And, you know, I'm just happy to leave it here. You know, the show is over. Happy Friday, everybody. I jest. So here's one. Again, Line Extension. This was, I believe, 10 Tezos still. Line Extension, very bad acid jumping in here, doing a flip, picking this up, I believe, for 10 Tezos. I'm not going to reload this. So just really fun, cool work. Again, as I was commenting on last show, look at these outrageous legs. But when you've seen so much of it, again, this becomes what you might consider at one time errors. Nov 1914, it's sort of like we're back to the DJ Mix analogy. Nov 1914 has built credibility with all of the works that we've looked at, the prolificness, the interesting experiments. Even if sometimes aesthetically you're really pushing the boundaries, you're not sure what to make of it, but doing it in such a consistent way and exploring ideas so consistently that you just have to respect it. At least I have to. And so there's a credibility, just like a DJ mix. You don't put the hard track at the start because you haven't built up the credibility. You build credibility by putting solid tracks, and then you can play something a little bit more offbeat because you have built the credibility. And there's kind of a similar thing going on here where Nov can do these outrageous pants here, and you just go, sure, no problem. And kind of fun, too. I like the spirit of these works as well. The composition, I mean, this looks like a 1921, half Modigliani and half like Ferdinand Léger. Is it Ferdinand Léger? They're gorgeous, but yet completely original. And you could even argue the creativity in these, you could argue, is actually more original than those artists, which I know might sound crazy, but they weren't doing anything as provocative. Like, is this a cloud? What is this supposed to be in the air here? Is this rain? Is this just sky that's been kind of molecularized or something? So radical artwork here. So maybe passing and saluting, perhaps. Hi. Just fun. And this one, maybe my favorite of the three. I had to start with the artist. The artist is spectacular with the two sailboats, which look like this. But let's look at this one. So here, I think this is called Miscatos. So I think with cats, if I'm not mistaken. There's cat number 1, and there's cat number 2. And here is a dresser. And then maybe a woman, a teenager on a bed, who knows. And then this is the bed frame. I guess that's the wallpaper, right? The color, almost metallic across the board. Everything has a bit of a metallic sheen here. And we're back to this interesting kind of bubble pattern, half abstract, refusing to be rationalized here. And maybe that's part of the delight. Another delight here. It's almost like back to our medieval perspective. It feels like this perspective is being done freehand. It's not being measured out and, okay, if we put the 2-point perspective or the 1-point perspective, this looks like it's just being done, as you see here in this awesome corner, just kind of roughly. And loosely, shall I say, it's being done without measure, you might say. And there's something just really, sometimes great art, one of the things that it does sometimes is it looks easy, right? Like there's a sense of that the artist doesn't need to try that hard. There's a sense that whatever the artist does, it's going to turn out. I feel like it's a kind of plateau that Nov 1914 has gone through. It's sort of like walk through, I don't want to say walk through hell, but walk through very challenging terrain bravely. I think I've used that word a lot with a few of these artists. Also Martin Bruce, other very courageous aesthetic decisions, and then has come out the other side. And I feel like that's where we are here. We've come out the other side with Nov 1914, where now it's like, pick your subject, can do no wrong, Galacalo. So it looks like it's getting more competitive here. 12 Tezos. So the price has risen. Now it's $10 US and not, 10 Tezos, $8. Okay. I did want to go into this very quickly. The Phaedrus. So remember the quote, if you saw last show, that I was paraphrasing on how we were talking about inspiration. And I was thinking to myself as I was walking outside back from the mall, off to use my phone internet, I was thinking to myself, I almost did a master's in ancient philosophy. And I think what I would have done had I stayed in that, is studied inspiration. I probably would have written something like on inspiration, I was thinking to myself as I was walking back to my apartment this morning. Because it's such an interesting thing. And what's super interesting about this subject, I was thinking about this morning, and I've never had this thought before. Western modern university interpretation, the way they start with teaching Plato, as many of you know who have taken Philosophy 101, they start with the apology, which means the defense, where Socrates is put on trial, the trial of Socrates, right? And then it's a three-part thing. There's the apology, there's the credo, very important dialogue, short but important, and then there's the Phaedo. And what's interesting, so they start with that, and that's all fine and good. But when you study Neoplatonism, and often you'll find the footnote somewhere, that in the ancient world, the way they studied philosophy, the way they would kind of open it up, they didn't start, the newcomers with the apology. They started with, I think you'd call it the ion. Short dialogue. I've only read it, I think, once. And what is it about? And again, I'm going back literally 20 years in my brain here. But it's about this poet who is basically able to make these beautiful, not speeches, but make beautiful poetry. And it's all about inspiration, or at least being possessed, and how Socrates shows this person that you may be able to make beautiful words or sentences and musical language. You may be able to do that. But that doesn't mean that you know anything, basically. And by the end of this 20-page dialogue, there is this, young guy, basically crying because Socrates has basically shown him that he knows nothing, but it's kind of a revelation to him, and he is grateful. Okay, so inspiration, what I'm getting to, this kind of mystical version of inspiration, which we're going to see a little bit of here, I'm kind of setting the table for us a little bit, has largely been, I think, pushed to the side by our scientific mindset, by the scientific mindset of scholars of the last 200 or 300 years. This is kind of my take on it. And so, how, the core of, even in the Platonic dialogues, and I'm not going to go too long on this, but you see there's kind of like this, when you look at the way the information is presented, say in, Intro to Philosophy 101, rationalism is kind of the emphasis. But then when you go back to the ancient world, at least the Neoplatonists, who came actually, as far as 800 years after Plato, say 400 AD, but also, 205 with Plotinus, they started with the ion. This idea, and I think the takeaway is, words are deceptive, and because just fancy language can be deceptive, and it doesn't show that you know anything. And then, now inspiration also comes into the mix, which is, again, and I was kind of alluding to this last episode, which is kind of seen as a kind of possession, a possession by a spirit. Okay, so I don't want to go too far on this. Now, so I asked ChatGPT 4.0, the new one, where is this? Because I was like, how am I going to find this? I did a couple of searches on Google, and thanks to ChatGPT, it worked out. Plato, Phaedrus, ravings of inspired madman utterly eclipse the technical abilities of a poet. Like, where is this in Plato's Phaedrus? And here's the answer. In Plato's dialogue, Phaedrus, one of the themes discussed is the nature of inspiration and its relation to poetry and madness. Socrates, the main speaker, argues that there are different kinds of madness, some of which are divinely inspired and more valuable than mere technical skill in poetry. Socrates suggests that the ravings of an inspired madman or mad person, someone who is touched by the divine, utterly eclipse the work of a technically good poet who lacks true inspiration. The reasoning behind this is that divine madness connects the poet to a higher truth and beauty, Well, again, I think this is modern stuff. The reasoning behind this is that divine madness connects the poet to a higher truth. Well, okay, maybe the higher truth and cannot be reached through mere, right. I mean, but again, I feel like the mystical side of this is being somewhat diminished. Here's an excerpt. So here's from the Phaedrus. What is the possession of the person who is possessed by the muses? What happens to them? The person who, having no touch of the muses' madness in their soul, comes to the door and thinks that they will get into the temple by the help of art. That person, I say, and their poetry are not admitted. The sane person is nowhere at all when they enter into rivalry with the mad person, with the madman. So, quite interesting. Now, too much information, but this is a journal, and I would be remiss not to discuss such important matters. I, of course, I wanted to be a psychedelic guide when I was 16 years old. And so I had done quite a fair amount of psilocybin, magic mushrooms, organic, pretty safe, other than the madness. And what happened repeatedly with these was this idea, at times, usually with the stimulus of music, I would start saying things. And I remember, say, going to a techno party one day. And I was saying to my friends, as I started to speak in meter, which is to me what poetry is, like speaking in rhythm, and then you're almost starting to rhyme. And I kept saying, like, I'd say wild things that I didn't even think I could say. And I'd say, I said it, but it wasn't me. I said it, but it wasn't, I would say, so there, and it happened actually 3 or 4 times. And so that's why I come back. And there are all sorts of theories, I think, finally on this. Humphrey Osmond, the guy who distilled LSD out of the tryptamine, I think, was it Wasson? And the guy from Harvard, Richard Schultes. If I remember right, they wrote a book on how they were theorizing at the core of the Eleusinian mysteries, the Greek religion, was a psychedelic. And they were speculating, I think it was Wasson especially, if I'm not mistaken, there's something, a kind of connection here. And I agree with that. I agree with this intuition. There is a connection. And so which brings us back to this kind of strange description. Now, actually, one more thing on this. So I ask, where is this? What line is this in the Phaedrus? And we come to another, for those that are wondering, this passage discussed appears in Plato's Phaedrus 245a, 245b. Now, this is very famous numbering, as far as if you ever encounter a Platonic dialogue. You will often find, if it's a good edition, you will find this numbering in it. And I was like, what is the name of that again? That's called Stephanus pagination. It's named after the 16th century French printer and scholar Henri Estienne, also known as Henricus Stephanus. Stephanus pagination is widely used in academic references to Plato's works, providing a standardized way to cite passages across different editions and translations. So far from us going on a big detour here from a lot of our digital art, content, far from doing that, we're actually putting ourselves, by discussing these things, into a much, very important, you see how old and important, I would argue, this tradition is. Again, the Stephanus pagination, this was created in the 1500s, and they still use it. Like, that's how kind of important this tradition is. I would argue. I'm sure there are people who would disagree. But all to say, this is related to what we're doing here. This is kind of what you might call foundational knowledge. Now, Finally, so I think it said 245. And here it is. So this is interesting. I found this morning. platonicfoundation.org/Phaedrus. So they have the dialogue. And here, but the person, let's just read the original. But the man or person who arrives at the portals of poetry, devoid of the muse's madness, convinced that they may be a poet through competent technique, is himself or themselves incomplete, and so is their poetry. And those works of a sound-minded person are set at naught, are basically disabled, utterly eclipsed by the poetry of the person who is mad. And there's a lot to be said for this. When you're in trance, since I've already revealed, when you're in the mushroom trance, and I don't advocate this, I haven't done it in years and years. But when you're in trance, you just kind of, like, when, to hear poetry almost becomes absurd if someone was to recite their kind of text, and you just blow the hell through whatever, like, it just comes in waves. And just, so the reason I bring this up is because we never know when life is taken from us. And, frankly, for me not to share this information, so I think, at least in my little journal here, would be kind of sad, and kind of, what would you say, dereliction of duty of a certain kind. Why do you study all these things? So I share that here. So this is out of the Phaedrus. And finally, the 4 forms of divine madness. Let's just go into that very quickly. It's very short. Here you go. Let's do this. The divine madness. And this is actually, let's go before. So Socrates is talking to Phaedrus finally. And of madness, there were 2 kinds. One produced by human infirmity, so someone who's sick, and so they are insane, their brain isn't working properly. The other was a divine release of the soul from the yoke of custom and convention. A divine release from from all the regular patterns of the brain, right? From conventional thought. True, Phaedrus says. Socrates, the divine madness was divided into 4 kinds: prophetic, initiatory, poetic, and erotic, having 4 gods presiding over them. The first was the inspiration of Apollo, the prophetic, the second of Dionysus, the initiation, and the third of the Muses, which is the poetic, the fourth that of Aphrodite and Eros. In the description of the last kind of madness, which is also said to be the best, we spoke of the affection of love in a figure, I think in a body, into which we introduced a tolerably credible and possibly true, though partly erring myth, which was also a hymn in the honor of love, who is your Lord, and also mine, Phaedrus, and the guardian of fair children. And to him we sung the hymn in measured and solemn strain. So I think we could have left that last sentence out. The 4 forms of divine madness. Worth a read. And it's all about speech, interestingly, and writing, the Phaedrus. Okay, so... And I'm trying not to, we do have comments today. Let's see if they show up. Here. Perfect. Thank you for the comments. Kyle Flemmer. On last episode, stellar episode, Adrian. Thank you. And can't thank you enough for featuring my work so prominently. You're welcome, Kyle. Yeah, of course, that McDonald's work, of course. Sent this to my mom to prove I'm not totally out to lunch with my creative practice. Well, I'm glad it was helpful. And yeah, that stuff that really, shout out to mom, to both my mom and your mom, Kyle. Shout out to all moms out there. Glad to hear. That's hilarious. Human Boy, who is tearing up the algorithms here. Adrian, thank you so much for the feature in today's episode. I'm doing just as you say. I'm doing as you say, just riding that wave. And as the artwork you shared implied, blink and you'll miss it. So really trying to take it all in. That is the spirit. Human Boy. And yeah, I mean, I was thinking to myself at the cafe as the internet was failing me again, what if Human Boy just keeps going and just do it until, like, as long as you're building out of it, like, It's just exciting, and they continue to hit. Like, so anyways, I'm really excited for you, human boy. Runetoon, I'm thrilled you caught up with the Crumb post. I'm thrilled you brought up the Crumb post, the Robert Crumb post. It reminded me of our digital art community being the comic artists' inspirations versus the trad art world, and how those two worlds are extremely segregated. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, almost like the lesser, not as respected comic artists. I mean, I sort of wondered to myself, and I think I'm wrong, but I wondered to myself if Crumb was doing a bit of a satire by separating the two. But I don't think so. I think Crumb just grew up thinking, well, the comic artists and illustrators are one thing, another is, what you find in the museums and the oil paintings and all that. But I find it hard to separate. Like, if you look at a drawing by Crumb, and then you look at drawings by, major artists like a Rubens, like, are these so different? Because he puts ink on it, so all of a sudden this is a different, a lesser form of art? It seems absurd, right? And I would actually argue the market is kind of showing this as comic art. It has really, stuff like Jack Kirby, you name it, Steve Ditko, on and on you could go. Karl Barks. Like, what's a Karl Barks painting go for these days? Another thing we have to come up to investigate. No comments on the last show. How is that possible? It's happened a handful of times, and I think it might have happened actually. Well, who knows? Maybe there's just no comments. I did release the Twitter quite a few hours before the YouTube, so that might have had something to do with it. Anyway, thank you for the comments. We're always having fun here, and anything goes. Surfing the algorithm. So also on X. Let's get this going here. Kika Nikolela. Thank you for highlighting our upcoming exhibition. So referring to Object, I think, at Art Basel. And please check the works of the artists you mentioned not knowing. They're all incredible and several in important museum collections. So, yeah, so I told Kika I definitely will. Once you guys put up the page, I'll happily check everything out. I'll show it on the show and everything. So thank you for the comment. And I think actually there was another, Kika added that she had written an essay, and I'd heard of this person, the poet. As you see here, Ana Livia just posted this article about Ana Livia Cordero. Need to find, so all to say, there's also an X article. That's pretty cool from Kika there, so check that out. Macro, thank you for the comment. Denise Sanchez, thank you for the comment. Great to hear from you guys. Kyle, Adrian, I'm honored with the feature today. So glad you liked the recent glitch work. Yes, it's excellent. I was looking. It kind of looks like two different, and you say it in the description, and I was even commenting on it, but it didn't quite click till after that you're using, it seems like you're using glitch ROM on one side, or like to get the foundation, but then in Aseprite, maybe you're using the tiling. So kind of creating, like maybe, because I just loved how the McDonald's arch, I think a lot of people did, it would kind of break, but there's also, it was being covered by the Hamburglar. Just super cool, Kyle. Very, very interesting work. Atlas Pop, fantastic show so far. Just chiming in on the Kukai wallet connection problem. I was having the same issue. I couldn't connect for hours. I finally closed all of my object tabs that I had open, and that did the trick. I've tried a few things. I thought the Brave browser, which is actually what I'm using right now, it works. I can log in. It's easier than my Chrome, so it probably was my Chrome. It's still a Chrome kind of infrastructure, so it's probably my other Chrome. Maybe I have a wallet that's kind of malfunctioning. But I noticed even on Brave, I think I mentioned this at the start of the show, when I hit infinite scroll on the notifications, I get a massive feedback even in a brand new Brave browser. So I think there actually is something up. I don't know if Kukai did an update or if it's maybe the JavaScript in the infinite scroll. I think so. It's interesting that you were having issues too, because I actually think there is an issue. So for what it's worth, in the infinite scroll, I think the browsers are kind of reacting against it. I love that infinite scroll though. So I hope it stays. Zozo, awesome to hear from you. Got some new work from Zozo, something to look forward to. Yacht, thanks for mentioning my work, Poco. Much love. Great to hear from you, Yacht. And thank you for posting in the community. I've been following your work for at least a year and a half here. Yo, ow, if you dig deep, Yacht, you'll see your work as far back as like a year and a half, if I'm not mistaken. Yo, ow, Salazar, great as always, thank you. And Hasdrubal Waffle. Hi, Poco, really happy you dig the pompadour, and thanks for the kind words as always. Really adore the Nuv piece you showed too, indeed. Nuv is really on fire here, seemingly. Again, this is all subjective, but I just keep going. You know, if you put one of these out a day, it would be amazing. Like, that's amazing. You should put in 3 out a day, like, almost like, no problem. Like, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Vinny Hagar, great to hear from you. And we're going to actually look at Vinny's project on Bitcoin. And I was discussing the pompadour with my hairdresser. I actually showed the GIF, I think it's a PNG. Let's see if I can find it very quickly, because it is hilarious. I don't know if I may have run out of data already, and I just loaded up new data. Like, that's how expensive my life is getting. I think I ran out of data. Can you believe it? I just used 5 gigabytes of data. That just it's costing me money, real money to put on this show. Let's see, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. Let's see if we can bring up that Waffles pompadour. I don't know if we're gonna, it might be too challenging. It might be too challenging. We got a show to do here, and we might not be able to load other stuff up if we try and load that up. Azerty Betamax. I brought this up in the abstract area. Very interesting work. Hopefully it loads up properly in the abstract area. I already have it loaded up, so hopefully that does it. And yeah, I'm having internet issues again here. Hopefully it doesn't cause us too many problems. I'm having fun compressing GIFs. Skulltex, this is really cool. And I wish this was working. Hopefully, there it is. Nice, I brought it up. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Compressing GIFs. Very cool. And Sanro, I apologize. And Ernesto, I think I'm having more data issue. Like, I think I just somehow burnt 5 gigabytes in the last, like, half an hour. I don't even know how that's possible. Or the phone is running out of just energy. Filippo Francocci. So apologies to the people in the community. We will show this next episode. Sotheby's Metaverse. Sotheby's and Gamma are thrilled to present natively digital art on Bitcoin, a collection of remarkable and unique artworks and collectibles. The curation showcases a diverse array of amazing techniques, concepts, and movements emerging in the field. Explore highlights. Some of you might remember the show that we did, Art on Bitcoin. So here it is again, natively digital. It's a good title. Here it is. This is Sotheby's. And okay, things are loading up, kind of. And here it is. So some names familiar, others not. All to say, if you want to see it, just go to gamma.io. It's right on the homepage there. You know, and I bring this up because it's like, look at how impressive. Like Gamma.io, it's such a dynamic space. Is kind of weirdly, I would argue, kind of weirdly becoming the super rare of Bitcoin. So it's interesting, seemingly. They're really doing well in that respect. Vinny Hagar. So we were talking about Vinny Hagar. And I think Vinny watches this show, like leaving the comments. And so shout out to Vinny, and has a 200-piece ordinal collection. So taking advantage of the low fees brilliantly, and pulling almost a human boy here in, hey, let's just do the Flash. I was thinking, I'm going to put out the pixel art Inferno, the Divine Comedy first part on Bitcoin. I'm going to put it for sale at some point. I think next Friday. I think I figured it out, actually, how to price it. But I was like, maybe I should try the Human Boy, take a page out of Human Boy's playbook and do like the flashing, see how far it goes. So anyways, Vinny's doing great, 20,000. I mean, you got to be happy about that. Vinny has a pretty big following, though, 60,000. So all to say, though, this is pretty cool. And so 200-piece ordinal collection. So taking advantage of the low fees, brilliant, and looks like a pretty cool collection. So this is going to be June 4th on Magic Eden on BTC. So it looks like there's going to be a proper release for this. Maybe I should actually try that with Magic Eden. Maybe I should, because I actually have a series that's ready to go there. Interesting. Okay, Still Life by Vinny Hagar, just thinking out loud here. So just very cool. Nice work, Vinny. Visual comparison of my two collections, letter and still life, is shown below. So here, I believe, are the still lifes in 2024. And, join the Discord, verify, and then drop your Taproot ordinal address for the allow list. So very cool. So yeah, I need to clean up because I kind of have investments mixed with my, and collecting works and just buying little ordinals. I've added a couple though. So I wanted to just show, because we're having fun. So interesting. Now this, I think, was 13 kilobytes, and I still got it for like $33 to mint this work here. And that's a really good deal. You're still finding in the mempool, we're still around 9 or 10 or 11 at times. Like that's when you should be minting these days. At 9 or 10 or 11, look how beautiful. Just this, I guess that's my work. I don't want to comment, but it just looks great on the screen. This is an unedited program here. Gamma.io, and put out MC202. Unfortunately, if you don't do this the right size, it'll compress kind of weird. But here it is in full. So putting out synths here, and of course, if you use Photoshop to make this larger, it will be crisp. But there's the MC202, also minted. There's 3 kilobytes. It cost me, I think, $10. It was great. So we're doing about $3 per kilobyte. Let's pray to the gods, my friends, that we get some internet here, because it could be a weird show otherwise. So Damien Hirst, I don't know how it's possible. I'm actually just going to try and pay $221. I don't know how, but it's already used up 5 gigabytes. Like, this is my week here. So we'll see if this works. The phone company is making like a bandit here. Let's see, 251. It's okay. Looks like we're in business. I just burned 5 gigabytes. Let's try this again. See if it works. And hopefully, obviously, I need some sort of internet solution here. We'll try and come back as this kind of gets locked in. Check this out. Murakit NFT, excited to announce sweet interfaces now on Artsy. Thanks for the invite, avon.dev, an independent gallery. So Artsy, as far as I understand, is probably the main online place for contemporary art, like where if you're a gallery, you'll have your Artsy kind of platform, you put your artists on. I was brought on at one point. I'm still there. They have my name backwards. It's Pocobelli Adrian rather than Adrian Pocobelli. But you can find my work on there. I think it's still there. I think the gallery, the fees were too expensive for the gallery. Running out. So yeah, but all to say, I think once you're in there, you're in. But okay, so this person, Murakit NFT, very cool. I was like, oh, this is just a beautiful work. This is on Artsy, and isn't it interesting? You can purchase it for $6,000. Unique work, includes a certificate of authenticity. It says it's a painting, but I think it's a GIF because you look at materials. So, but then you look 1 inch by 1 inch, 2.5 by 2.5 centimeters. So I think you buy the digital artwork for $6,000. And it made me think, and this one is still, it made me think though, what if this was a painting? That would be pretty cool. And I don't think it is, but it got me thinking, like, what would the physical version of this look like? Could be pretty rad. So all to say, very cool. We'll give Luke 500. Let's see if we can get this working. It's just kind of sad. Let's see if we can continue here. Art Wolfie, meme coins are quietly changing the utility game of NFTs. I said what I said. Yeah, interesting idea that meme coins are quietly changing the utility game of NFTs. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I assume if you have an NFT, then maybe you get the meme coin. And meme coins, it's kind of takes crypto to the financial logic of crypto to its final, logical conclusion. Some people argue, and it's not a crazy argument, that Bitcoin is just a meme coin because everybody knows about it, so everybody agrees on it. So it's like a meme that everybody, interesting. Housecat.tez, my MetaMask wallet says I have 80 GoGo tokens from Gogolitis. Is this legit or some type of scammer token? And there's Gogo. Hey, Housecat, it is legit. So here come the meme coins, or at least meme tokens or artist tokens. Very interesting. Speaking of this is crazy. Just so you know, Hasdrubal Waffle. Today we introduce Waffle Always in Profit, WAIP. So this is May 22nd, so 2 days ago. NFT guarantee means after purchase on primary, 95% of sale is refunded to buyer, 5% retention for fees. This makes your Waffle NFT always profitable, as you can accept lowball offers without fear of loss. You're welcome. So it sounds to me, if I'm not mistaken, that you can bid 100 Tezos on a waffle and you'll get 95 Tezos sent back to you and a waffle. So that's, so you're seeing some of these go for 100 Tezos and whatnot. So that's pretty interesting. And we have some waffles coming up if they load. Human Boy. So just the latest on Human Boy here, 70,000 views on a work released yesterday morning. So about a day ago. And already, 700 retweets here, just doing fabulous. Great to watch, already breaking 8,000, so continuing to break new ground here, get new followers. Also, Gregorio Zanardi on Super Rare. That is a great move by Super Rare. Thanks for the invitation, and Laura Me. Thanks to all of you for supporting me, and now on Super Rare. Maybe I'd load that up, but unfortunately I don't have internet, seemingly. Zach, pro tip. If you're pitching someone, make it shorter. Be able to describe the project in a few sentences and leave out the filler. Be bold and succinct. This is a great advice, and I think also for artists. Just keep it really short and snappy and bold and awesome. Good tip. Demon Ego. One of the reasons why I work with many media is that I am a person who gets bored easily. I did hundreds of, I can totally relate to this. Like if you're making a lot of art, like you want to try different things. Could you imagine just sticking to the same? I mean, it works for some people, but I would find it hard to just keep doing the same thing. It's nice to try different things. I did hundreds of experiments that I tried and never continued because I got bored. But they are what created my art today, and I totally relate to this. If there were not so many experiments, new experiments would not be possible, and the demon that I accidentally summoned to the world would not have appeared. So, singing the praises of experimentation. Oh, will this load up? John Cates. Great quote anyway. Create new nostalgia, create something people can talk about 30 years from now. See if this loads. Pray to the internet gods here. We're getting the message in German. We'll try. I can no longer get data, I think it's saying. So check your account service. I am using too much. So unfortunately, here's max capacity at Glitch Art Gallery, John Cates. It's not loading up. And you know what's sad? This was already loaded up in my browser, and then the browser gets rid of it. Here it's working. Walk, current bid, 86 euros. That other one was Lily Illo with Art Matter. So Walk continues to make inroads on eBay, which is awesome. Getting into the artwork itself, a gorgeous gradient here. Amazing color from Ranixtier to start us off, just beautiful. Taking this whole series and concept to another level here. I mean, this is just stunning abstract artwork. So Higher, cool title too. From Ranixtier. Here's Waffles, Hasdrubal Waffle. Gym Bro's at my gym, bro. And let's just see. So here, another, who can't relate to the gym bros at your gym? This is hilariously out of focus. And here, so just another cool Waffles work. And a wild kind of abstract face here. Just cool. Big PNG, 3,000 by 3,065. Unfortunately, we can't see how much it sold for. Clown Car Orgy. Kind of edgy work here from Waffles, which we can't load up, unfortunately. Forgive the internet issues. This is what I'm dealing with. Our ship is taking on water, but I think we're on our way to repairing it. So cool work here, released by Waffles. Kind of a different kind of software, this shiny kind of stuff. And then mixing it in this one with some pixelation. Esoteric, Porno. And so that is sold for 0.02, not a bad price. It's like $80 on base. So that was a few days ago, I believe. And let's continue here. Let's go one Tezos. So unfortunately, I'm not able to explore everything, but beautiful work here by Waffles, seemingly on object. And here, unfortunately, Ilay's, yeah, it's just what it is. If I don't continue, there's not going to be a show, but Ilay is using dpaint. And we saw arm wrestle there. Here's dpaint. So it's dpaint.org. I was testing it out. Yeah, so very cool. And I'm not sure which software, if this is, I think this is Graphics 2, that this is, of course, Ugo Digi. Look at this beautiful Ugo Digi work. The image at the focal point really makes it work. I had missed this in a CompArts auction. This is stellar. Love the kind of image icon there. Kind of really brings it all together. Image making kind of relates to our opening work there by Nuv 1914. I mean, these could hang in, thematically in the same show, like image making, digital image making. Here's Wozo. This seems to be loading, so maybe it's because these are loading up just probably constantly. They always go back to, I'm not sure how it goes. So there's no audio on this one, but beautiful work by Zwozo. More beautiful work. Life Finds Its Way, indeed. Great title, edition of 10 for 6 Tezos. Not sure how many are left. We'll see if this one loads. I'm not sure if I brought this up, but it's just so beautiful. The Shores of the Cosmic Ocean. This came out while I was in Sicily. Look at this planet. So, yeah, as you can see here, the internet issues continues, but you got a taste of it. Let's continue. Element Lee, House by Element Lee. So what am I going to do? My phone isn't going to allow any more data. I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, let's continue here. Element Lee with a very cool piece posted on X. Very interesting and experimental. I guess about 5 colors here. Just very interesting. House, my aesthetic foundation, draws from 2 primary sources. One is classical Chinese drawings depicting gardens and architecture. The other is pixel art from retro computer games. Very cool. I believe Element Lee is Chinese, or from China, I think. Here is Popple with a new work, Satsuki Moritaka at the entrance of the Centipede Bar. Sounds kind of like William Burroughs-esque. There's Popple's awesome signature right there. And just very, very cool. And as you see, this person, the light comes on, a little bit of generative art mixed in there. So a couple of different kinds of techniques here. Very cool series. I wonder if this is related to the computer game that Popple was said that he was working on. Here's mech.txt and Fendel. So this is a music. Oh, I'm not sure if the music's going to play. We got a little touch of the music here. Unfortunately, that's it. Too bad. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Sounds grand. That music sounds awesome. It sounds like synth classical. Edition of 40, I'm in Danger, and Sold Out. Not sure for how much. Let me close that just in case it starts playing. Arts of Win, commissioned bust-up portrait in my 2-bit style. So another pixel artist on Instagram, and there's a close-up. Kind of a fun one. Almost looks like space. In space. Maybe the cat has a spacesuit. Just kind of a cool pixel artwork. Here's Anis Abdin with A Car in the Snow. Very cool work. Brand new, 4 colors. Nice animation. So cool winter work from Anis Abdin. Here's Uxine, incorporating some 3D kind of work into what looks like a zine type layout here. So just kind of fun. A lot of retweets there and likes, be like everyone else. So this kind of relates to another work that, remember the currency bill? That, something kind of similar theme that Uxine is exploring here. Here's Braun with another cool work, Skyscraper. Just thrilled these are loading up right now. Just keeping my fingers crossed. Beautiful. Look at this. So just another really interesting abstract. I think one of the things that makes this really work, which I've commented on before, is the combination of dynamic and static pixels. And I think what's going on is you have something underneath that's moving, and then you put something over top, I think is what's going on here. A layer over top that's static, so some bleed through, some don't. It creates this very cool effect. Data motion dithering over stable diffusion generated image. Very cool from Braun. And I think that was a edition of 15 for 8 Tezos. Nice work. Wojak, simulation number 23, Shenron collected. So first piece with an original score. We'll see if this plays. This is Wojak. Interesting abstract here. Some more music and art. You can do this with digital. A really easy way. Cool music. Very cool music. Here's another one, Video Avocado. August Ground tweeted this out saying how he had collected it. This is a minute 27. It's not all going to work, I guarantee you, as you can see. But yeah, unfortunately, my friends, maybe it's these works that are killing my data. Very, too bad though. Interesting, just a different kind of video work here. Video Active Avocado. So pretty cool work. Obviously Brown, edition of 1. I think it was 15 Tezos, if I'm not mistaken. And here we saw this work by Azerty Betamax in the... should I have not have... Maybe I shouldn't have scrolled down there. This is my life the last week, actually. It's been very challenging. So unfortunately... I'll try and remember to bring this back up when we look at the works in the community next episode. Autumn Kingdom. Interesting piece here. Kind of has a collage feel to it. Who's this by? Bosque Gracias. So a different kind of work from Bosque. Kind of looks like it's incorporating some kind of glitch techniques or some kind of processing. Autumn Kingdom. So at the Bosque Residency Autumn. Very cool, 8 minted. And this is also on exchange.art. And yeah, this is by Filippo Francocci. And unfortunately, oh, here it is. Okay, it's working. What a wild piece this is. So turning different works into this wild 3D artwork here. Just like experimental media. Pretty interesting. Continuing on, Pamelo Chirone. Also experimenting here. Kind of almost has a more physical feeling. They always have, but these ones are feeling even more. You're starting to wonder, is this a physical artwork? But I don't think so. This is great. This is more classic Pamelo Chirone, and then here experimenting with different kinds of digital watercolors, I think. We had him on the Spaces. It was awesome. Here's Rada. I'm not exactly sure what Rada's doing. There's a Dgens airdrop 05. Sorry for the waiting. So Rada's working on some sort of project. And here is, I think this is a newer work. I'm not sure if it's related to the project, but kind of a fun drawing from Rada. So maybe related to that project on base. Here is Jan Lucas Magone. A very nice piece here. Great color. Kind of has a Rubens feel to it. Interestingly. Skeletons, figures, and of course looks like Apple VR Pro. Very nice composition. This is on Zora. 215 minted so far. Nice work. And check this out. So this is like I guess this is like the sketch. Like just awesome. Awesome. It's beautiful. This sketch should be minted. And of course, I follow Jan Lucas Magone. That is a X-glitch when you open a bunch of tabs. I'm not going to try and maximize that. Ezra Eslin. I'm not sure if this is new, but this is beautiful. I almost wanted to start with it, but I thought maybe this is older. All to say, a very fun summer work with some ghosts in it, yachts and everything. Summer love. Just very cool. Here's Seba Sestaro. And another cool work here, kind of surreal, kind of looks like, bedroom mirror, but with someone looking off into a landscape. Also giving a vibe of summer, and also giving a vibe of summer. Blooming Creation by Katarina Create. This is an edition of 1 for 20 Tezos, animated with beautiful fuzzy rain. So fun, cool artwork there. A couple of mushrooms and everything. Silva Santu's Open Edition through Matrix 2. So another cool glitch ROM. Look at that. Almost a window into another dimension here. Pretty cool. Look at that. Very cool work from Silvasan 2's Foreminted at only a Tezos through Matrix 2. Indeed, through crossing the Matrix there. John Cates, Glitch Western Wednesday. I thought this was pretty cool. So not sure if this was minted anywhere, and it's hard for me to find out. Look at all these awesome, differently sized pixels. Very cool work from John Cates. Here is Sky Goodman and Mika Oladev, and it's probably only going to play a little bit, if any. So unfortunately, we are all being robbed by the internet here today. All this preparation, robbed by the internet. Searching for the self amidst the noise. Anyways, this is edition of 20 for 9 Tezos. You can see how kind of cool it looks. Cool combination of artists. And here is Sesam, who I don't think I've seen before. This looks like it's loading up. I have a feeling it's Zora that probably used all the data. It's not their fault, but I think because it loads the whole video here. I think that's what's going on. There's volume. Cool work. More cool music. Edgy. Kind of drum and bass, but kind of happy-go-lucky drum and bass, but pretty kind of rough and glitchy at the same time. That's on Zora. More cool work on Zora. Here's Klaus, composition 207. So the compositions continue awesomely, and just another nice textured work here. Edition of 1 for 21 Tezos. Here is Acid Boy selling another animated abstract, this time for 4,200 rare. So I think it's worth your while to use rare as a token. I think they like that, and maybe it helps sell the work. Matter, it's a 1 of 1, 4,200 rare. I think that'd be like $420. I think the rare token's 10 cents. And here's Kuro with a Pink Panther work. This is on Zora. I'm happy we've gotten this far in the show, to be perfectly honest. Open question as we were a third the way through. Lejo X, another work here, kind of a snake, kind of abstract, just interesting work. I think has posted in the community before, so just interesting work there. Look at Yoain. My art lately. So we've looked at Yoain for, at least, like, I want to say a year and a half, pretty early on. Interesting experiments from Yoain, again, mixing collage, digital painting, and AI, last I checked. So interesting experiments here. Unfortunately, this one is not loading up. But we got 3 of them here. And there's the last one. Yeah, not loading up. Nugget Brain. Let's see if this loads up. Just get rid of that. So Nugget Brain has a show, my current solo exhibition, Brainiac. This is I just love this artist. And unfortunately, we only got a couple there. But we're getting, this is like archaeology here. Bondozo Bandito, deeply inspired. This is pretty funny. Just kind of interesting juxtaposition there. So original, the subject matter as well as the painting style. And same with Moto Hero, with the rabbit head and the fish. I mean, look at all these works. The chicken, these outrageous juxtapositions. Very cool. I mean, it's pretty wild with the squirrels jumping in and out of the legs. Really head-turning stuff. And beautifully illustrated. There's just something about it, right? And that's your show. Let's see if the music plays. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful, start of summer weekend. And until next time, take care. I'm going to fix my internet.